Alrighty now, y'all. We got Stacey Dash, man. Oh boy, here we go. Stacey Dash now then came out and then start spewing about how disrespectful people are about celebrating people's death. And look, we're not advocating anybody celebrating people's death. We're just simply saying it's just not our business and we're staying out of it, and nobody's losing sleep. But y'all, we gonna get into some clips, man. Well, y'all know how Stacey Dash is. You know, she done said a lot of slick things in the past and damn near got canceled. And I think, ever since then, she didn't really do too well. She just been on and off drugs, and this is all public information about, how she's spiraling. And family, it looks like the Dame Dash is her cousin, but the Dashes aren't doing too well. It seems like they're just taking a few L's back to back. Without no further ado, man, let me know what y'all think about this clip, man. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel, man. On our way to 500 subscribers on the new channel. So y'all I appreciate that. So look, without no further ado, let's get into this clip. Give me y'all opinions and y'all thoughts on this craziness. If y'all don't remember the denouncing and the brutal disrespect that Stacey Dash has said about us and our Foundation of Black Americans and our lineage. If y'all don't, y'all going to find out. If y'all do, y'all familiar with how she roll and how she panders to the dominant society. And she's always have. But listen to the craziness that comes out of her mouth, man, after we play these clips again. Let me know what y'all think about this. Let's go.
What's wrong with you? I mean, what is wrong with you? That you can celebrate someone's death? Seriously. Because they don't agree with you? Because they talk about different things and you don't like what they're saying? You don't like hearing the truth? So you celebrate their death? What is going on? I'll tell you what. That is the state of our country and our world. The devil is dancing right now, and you're celebrating right along with him. So God help you. All of you who are celebrating a man's death, the fact that his children have no father, his wife has no husband, his parents have lost their son, and you're celebrating.
Yo, before we get into these clips, man, this is really funny because a few years ago, she was talking crazy disrespectful about our history and how it shouldn't be celebrated and mentioned in history books. And if we're going to have DEI, then we need to get rid of, I believe she said, look, I'm not even a quarter. Look, let's get into these clips, man.
Either we want to have segregation or integration. And if we don't want segregation, then we need to get rid of channels like BET and the BET Awards and the Image Awards, where you're only awarded if you're Black. Just like there shouldn't be a Black History Month. We're Americans, period. That's it.
I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. Learn something from this.
Okay, so people keep asking me for my skin routine. Well, the first thing, no sun. No sun. I don't bleach my skin. I just don't go in the sun. Okay, I'm ashamed. I didn't know. I didn't know DMX died. I didn't know. From a cocaine overdose. I'm
But I was on Fox News.
Look, I don't want to get a copyright strike, man. I don't want to get a copyright strike. We do not own the rights to this. We're going to get back into the clip, man. This is just hilarious.
Happy Black History Month.
I've lived my life being angry. You know, which was what I was on Fox News. You know, I was the angry, conservative Black woman.
Back in the days, I wrote a poem about Miss Stacey, right? Where I told her to have several seats because she came for us.
That's facts, man. Let's play this all over again, man. She's absolutely fired up because nobody's got her back. Nobody's supporting her. Nobody's really stopping for Stacey Dash because she done sold us out in some crazy, twisted way of trying to manipulate us into thinking that the righteousness is wrong. This is wild, man. Listen to this, man. This is all the drugs that she's done, man. She said a lot of disrespectful things, and it just was not cool. And especially for, you know, our people, man, it was just like downright wrong. And it's just craziness, man. So let's get into this.
I had a big cry last night.
Yeah.
But I'm not crying now.
You're not.
And I think for that,
yeah,
I'm doing so well.
Yeah, man. Stacey is known for bucking her eyes and tap dancing for the dominant society because she associates herself with just being a Mexican or whatever, which is fine, but she does not go out of her way to claim her Black side at all. She never has. In fact, she goes out of her way to talk crazy about it. And the fact that like she really could think she can just sit up there and be disrespectful to foundational Black Americans is why she doesn't have any credibility in the community. Because a lot of this stuff that she says, the rhetoric, is just unnecessary, man. It's really unnecessary. We're going to play a clip of her being super disrespectful. And again, this is just, you know, her being a Sambo, man, and tap dancing for no reason because nobody asked her any of these negative things to be said about. Look, without no further ado, I'm not going to spoil it, but she said a lot of disrespectful things. And the fact that you can come out and be so remorseful and be so angered about a person that disrespected our lineage is even more crazier. And I'm really looking at like so many people I never would have ever thought the things that'll be said and coming out of their mouth, man, all of the money and all of the support we done, you know, have for these people. And they turn around like it's nothing, man, and stab us right in the back. And they can just disrespect the lineage. And like it's nothing. And we don't really celebrate that, man. We don't claim those kind. They never been considered a part of us. And so we're going to get into this, man. Let's get into this clip of Stacey Dash. I think this was in the early 2000s. All right. And I think she's just kind of losing it a little bit. She's all over the place. She is all over the place, man. 1 minute she's Black. 1 minute she's just a other, right? 1 minute it's a problem being Black, and she's siding with the dominant society because it's too Black.
Have segregation or integration. And if we don't want segregation, then we need to get rid of channels like BET and the BET Awards and the Image Awards, where you're only awarded if you're Black. Just like there shouldn't be a Black History Month. You know, we're Americans, period. That's it.
I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. Learn something from this.
We want to have segregation or integration. And if we don't want segregation, then we need to get rid of channels like BET and the BET Awards and the Image Awards, where you're only awarded if you're Black. Just like there shouldn't be a Black History Month. You know, we're Americans, period. That's it.
I was was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. Learn something from
Did y'all hear that, man? And she'll turn around like it's nothing and contradict herself, backpedal, and say the complete opposite of what she stands for. And these are the people, man, that is coming out of the, and it's kind of, in a way, it's kind of good that we're seeing the true colors that's coming out, because we ain't gonna judge you for what kind of philosophy, what kind of, policy or any ideologies that you believe in, man. We hold everybody accountable to the same standard, and we give the utmost respect to everybody. With this narrative that y'all black people don't need to have BET. Are you kidding me? I just can't believe the things that really she just said out of her mouth. It's just the coonery is so real and crazy. It's actually helpful that it's coming out, man. It's sad, and it's you don't even like believe it until like they start talking and you see like, yo, I see why you're in Hollywood, because you're so easily swayed. You stand for nothing with no dignity, nothing at all. And so she identifies as a Mexican. This is the same woman talking about how she doesn't go out in the sun. The same woman. So let's get into this, man.
Segregation or integration. And if we don't want segregation, then we need to get rid of channels like BET and the BET Awards and the Image Awards, where you're only awarded if you're black. Just like there shouldn't be a Black History Month. You know, we're Americans, period. That's it.
I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. Learn.
That's wild. Do you know how insane you have to be to just contradict yourself, yo? And then she backpedaled talking about, oh my God, I didn't know DMX died. And then look, remember this, y'all? And just funny.
Happy Black History Month.
Yo, she was the same female just talking about how black people are overrated and we're overqualified, and we get all the accolades and all the awards and the global attention and things like that. And look at this sister. She turned around and said Happy Black History Month and nobody clapped for her. This is the tap dancing that we see, y'all. This is what we be talking about. This is exactly what we be talking about, man. Yo, that's what they want, right? That's exactly what it is. This is exactly what's going on. A good tap dance. Look at her just bucking her eyes, super happy, man. Turn around and contradict herself. That girl. It's funny how the celebrities, man, they're forefronted as the spokespiece and the mouthpiece for the mainstream industry. Because it's funny, man, because all the white supremacists seems to forget about when Charlie Shirker was talking very disrespectful about our late, great King, Dr. King. And they all of a sudden forget that, because he was an actual crash out for them, because he represented what they truly believed in. And so they won't show their blatant racism. This is Charlie Sheen. This is Charlie Kirk disrespecting us and our lineage.
This King is, quote, a bad guy. It's true. And Kirk self-described very, very radical view that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true. Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true. And Kirk self-described very, very radical view that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true. Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true. And Kirk self-described very, very radical view that the country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true. Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true.
See? Right? I wonder, where's all that same exact energy, y'all, for Kirk and his rhetoric and his negative propaganda that he was spewing and debating and making young girls cry and deflecting and lying. All of it was built on bad faith. He quoted, he said, Dr. King is a bad person. Are you serious, man? We're not even going to go into the details, but it's funny that there's a selective vision and a selective injustice there. And they choose and pick on who to idealize with bad faith arguments. And that is it's really catering to the white supremacist demographic so they can essentially instill law and order and perpetuate white supremacy. That's exactly who he was. He was a forefronted face puppet for the white supremacists, and he would crash out. And the fact that they don't have a crash out right now, they're up in arms because he was a person not of facts. He would just rage bait with illogical rationalizing, because by deflecting and provoking questions, knowing that you're going to deflect away from the answer, was in bad faith. So that negative neutralized energy that he would do to manipulate young college students was diabolical. He would do it deliberately because he knew that he was a little bit older and had a little bit more political articulation, and so that he would defeat them mentally like that. And so he would deflect away from, they talked about, again, Planned Parenthood. They talked about how deaths, guns brings deaths which are needed. And again, we talk about the lack of empathy thing. How were you so upset of what he believed in? He got what he believed in. So he also would lie and stereotype and codify words where he would always mention Chicago. And right before he passed away, he would reference Black people and in a form of naming cities like Chicago, like Detroit. That was a cold way of calling us Black folks, calling us niggas and things like that. So, he was against DEI. And so Trump administration and all the Republicans are at a loss because they didn't expect their crash out to really go out like this soon, because he was a young candidate. And again, him putting in so much, because he represented their true emotional feeling about Black people. And by them taking away that and them having this stain on their reputation because they have this idea that they can't get touched. And so when you ruin that imagery and that reputation, and it's not Black people, they don't know what to do. So they're out there and marching and up in arms, man, all because, their own kind did it. And when you affect the LGBT community, when you bad shame the, transatlantic, y'all know what I'm saying, the transatlantic community, there's going to be a lot of backlash. And so they're saying that the Republicans might have allegedly potentially hired somebody to take care of that situation, because there was a bunch of hand signals and hand gestures, tipping of the hat, tipping of the ear, all in the backstage of the videos. We've seen footages of multiple people making some hand gestures. And so that amount of feet away from the victim, they said it was at least over 200 feet. So you have to be precise without actually accidentally shooting someone. So you have to have range, you have to have proper training, you have to know what you're doing. you have to have experience of utilizing those big machine guns like that, because the guy was only in his 23, 100 pounds soaking wet, and he got up on that building. They said he was limping when he got into the facility, and that's how they called him. He must have stood out that way, and he ended up taking him out. And so he had to have had training. They said his mother was heavily engaged into gun training and that gun shooting culture. They was definitely immersed in that whole lifestyle, and so he already knew what he was doing. And so it was like a secondhand nature. He shot the gun, and he actually threw the gun in the bushes. So he know what he was doing. He was wiping his fingertips off or whatever he wore so he couldn't be detected, and actually fled after he threw the firearm in the bushes. So he already was a college student. He was taught and trained how to shoot up a gun. He had he obviously had some. He said his reasoning of this is alleged of doing what he did and unaliving Charles Kirk was because he didn't have the same views of the transatlantic political policies. They didn't have that same belief. In other words, y'all read between the lines of what I'm saying. So I don't know we don't know what was going on through his mind yet, but his father has actually turned him in. So he's seen him on the news, and look, that means that, okay, he was actually protected by the dominant society, because that means that nobody even knew who it was unless if it wasn't for the cameras catching him on in the back staircase area and climbing on and off that roof, because he was protected. And they're saying again he might have been protected by the Republicans because there was accurate shooting, there was precision, there was swift. It was that's very, very difficult to land your shot like that unless you have actual practice and preparation for that. So you had to have been definitely well prepared and guided in how exactly what building. He had to have done his due diligences on the homework, on the whole campaign speed, where they was going to be, the right angles, the right machine. This was planned out, premeditated. So they're up in arms. So you actually need some real training. I mean, you need some elite level knowledge on how to accurately assassinate and take someone out like that from that amount of distance. So the fact that that dude disrespected Dr. King, he deserves where he's at. Dr. King had nothing to do with this. Where did that come from? And again, we quote, and there's so many quotes of him saying, like, just randomly mentioning black people, just an obsession about black people, saying how, oh, if I saw a black pilot, I would hope that he was be qualified. What does that got to do with anything, man? So the randomness that he would spew out, people were spewing out their random memes about him, like they were making fun of about George Floyd. They didn't let that go. He even made light about George Floyd. So now we're making light of him, and you got to respect that. You can't be mad at the backlash. This man put out hate in the universe, and he got it back. So give me y'all thoughts on this, man. Let me know if y'all think about this, because Stacey out here just tap dancing, and it's just gotten crazy, man. I even remember y'all remember this? She even got some backlash here from like this was like a couple years ago. And this is on the real back when it was airing. And she had a lot to say, but a lot of the hosts didn't like what she said about, well, we just played it, a few minutes ago, about what she said about basically shading her own color, shading her own skin, shading her own people. She doesn't associate with black. She's a Mexican. And she doesn't go outside to tan. She only stays indoors. That's how she, she maintains her skincare and her skin tone. She hates the sun. This is what Stacey was saying, man. So a lot of people was giving her backlash, but yeah, man, she had a lot to say about people celebrating Charlie Kirk. Let's get into this, man.
For this year's Oscars. Well, actress Stacey dash has added to the controversy on the subject. Speaking out on Fox and Friends, she said, quote, either we want to have segregation or integration, and if we don't want segregation, then we need to get rid of channels like BET and the BET Awards and the Image Awards, where you're only awarded if you're black, end quote. And she went on to say, quote, there shouldn't be a Black History Month. We're Americans, period, end quote. Lonnie, do you think Stacey has a point?
Okay, first of all, I want to give it up to BET because they gave the ultimate clapback.
How about that?
Show on Instagram where they put a picture of her when she was on the game, and they basically said, can we get our check back? Nah.
I mean,
you were on the game, and we're not talking about the rapper, the show. So I have to give it up to BET. And this is the thing about this whole conversation. There's a reason why we have a BET, a Telemundo, a Lifetime, a logo. There is a reason, because it's to help emphasize where major networks don't emphasize. And that's the reason for it. I mean, there's no difference. So for her to sit back and say, well, we don't need it, she benefited from it as well. I mean, you have never seen her on Vogue. You've never seen her
but
on
I've seen her on Black Men magazine.
But you've seen her on King magazine. Yeah. You've seen her on Heart and Soul, which are all so-called black magazines. So for her to say it, she's being a little hypocritical, I
have to give it to, obviously, networks like BET. I think the fact that, if you, at any point, like we're talking about now, they're saying the Oscars.
BET is actually sold now to white network now, so that's a null and void. But man, shout out to them ladies, man, that was actually holding it down. Truth to power, man. Where's the lie? Stacey dash, man, we calling you out. We done found receipts. Yes, you've been employed by that same exact organization or institution that you're so-called denouncing. So man, we gonna get off her, man. She's just a tap dancer right now, man, and it's just funny because they don't have nothing to say about all the negative propaganda, the disrespect, the slander, the badgering, the hate speech, the hate-filled rhetoric that Charlie Kirk has spewed while he was on this earth. So until then, man, we're going to hold y'all accountable, man, for having that selective vision, having that selective justice, man. Stacey dash, she might be canceled, man. So let me know what y'all think about this video, man. Give me your opinions and your thoughts in the comments. Let me know what y'all think. Play the clips back and, and see who's actually running the show and who actually has the talent. Some of these are puppets. They just do it for the check. And we're actually help facilitate that by being their consumers and their fan base. So, man, let us know what y'all think about this, man. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel. I will talk to y'all soon. Please subscribe to the channel, man. We on the road to 500 subscribers to this new channel, man, because they don't like us. But look, let's get this up and popping, man. I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.